Call Yamla, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Machakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who were well within this ministry, taught us this Amath, which is the truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect that preach this truth out the four corners of the globe, risking their lives of freedom to do so. Shalom, shalom. All right, so Brother Shamari Za'ab, back with another lesson. Lord willing, be edifying and exhorting. Okay, this is part 2 to Rocket Man ain't playing, ESAU scared. All right, and that's the case. All right, and Rocket Man ain't the only one not playing. There's other nations that the Lord is putting the spirit on to rouse up against this devil, against this land, and against the inhabitants thereof. But notably against the chief one of the house of Esau, which is Esau. These small hats, these top rich banking families, and the puppets that they use to push their agenda, like Trump and everybody in his cabinet and all these other government officials and all these different tech niggas that specialize in technocracy and all this different stuff, man. Okay. I'm gonna read this real quick and grab some scriptures. This is Salaki. This is Newsbreak app. It says North Korea pledges support for Iran's supreme leader. And this was published by John Hayward, March 11th, 2026. So about 2 weeks ago. All right. So yeah, man, Kim Jong-un, he's getting involved. All right, to do what? To support Iran in this war that they got going on against these small hats in Israel and these Edomites here in the chief house of Esau, Edom, which is America. All right. Continuing on, it says North Korea on Wednesday announced its support for Iran's new supreme leader. I can't pronounce that. And denounces what it called illegal attacks on Iran by the United States and Israel. So yeah, man, everybody sees what's going on and everybody sees how this devil is playing foul. All right, in the middle of a negotiation, you gonna send airstrikes, okay, on Iran in the middle of a negotiation. And ever since then, it's been tit for tat. All right, the Lord put the spirit on those Persians to be stirred up, to basically to come down on this place with wrath. And to stand their ground, man, they no longer submitting to the authority of the hammer, which is Esau in America. Nobody's submitting to the authority of America no more. Why? Because these other nations have nuclear capability. Not only that, but these other nations, these smaller nations that Esau once had in the chokehold, now they're being backed and supported by these, by Russia and by North Korea, which are like major bullies in this war, man. Okay? So they got support from Russia, which gives them more resources and nuclear capability. So now these other nations are boldly speaking against this devil, you know? And the unrighteous, I ain't gonna say unrighteous, but the breaking of the treaties, okay, and the stabbing of the back that Esau does with these other nations, they tired of that shit, man. And now they coming together on one accord to put this place to shame, man. Continuing on, it says North Korea's state-run Korean Central News Agency, or KCNA, quoted a spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs who said Pyongyang respected the appointment of Khamenei to succeed his father, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed at the beginning of Operation Epic Fury last week. Right. So look, man, Esau is doing these niggas dirty, man. How we supposed to be coming to a ceasefire, coming to an agreement right? And trying to sort some shit out. And in the course of that happening, they took out Iran's supreme leader, man. All right? To the point where his son had to step in his rank, had to step up and fulfill his office, man. And now his son, he's in the spirit of vengeance. He want to get vengeance for the death of his father, man. All right? Which in their eyes, it seems to be unfair. So, yeah, man, they not playing. The Lord put the spirit on these Persians, also known as Iranians today, also known as Carmanians in the scriptures, to really terrorize this place, to be a terror to this place. Okay? And now they not backing down. They don't want to talk no agreements, no ceasefire, no none of that. Matter of fact, see, let me go back. Oh yeah, it ain't okay. Cool. But it's another article speaking on basically how it's another article speaking on how one of the oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz just got hit by the U.S. So it's a constant tit for tat, all right, until it becomes where other nations get involved, all right, and as the prophecy say, the least of the flock should draw them out, and that's when we know things is gonna get really hectic. But even before World War III happened, other prophecies got to take place too, like Jacob's trouble, the MOTB being made mandatory, the sea hipping stations. Okay, all those things have to take place before World War III really pops off, the intensity of it. Let me grab some scriptures real quick. All right, because the Lord is doing all of this to fulfill his will, man. This is Salakia. This is Sirach, chapter 10, verse 1. Well, let me see. Oh, come the fuck on, man. Well, the scriptures say that the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, man. So it's the Lord that's putting a spirit on these different kings of the earth to do what they're doing. And what it's going to lead to is prophecy being fulfilled at the end of the day. Okay? But these other nations are getting the upper hand on Esau. And this devil no longer has control of the narrative. All right? He's losing this war, man. Okay? This nigga is losing this war, spiritually and this physical war he got going on with these nations. But let me grab some precepts. All right. Okay. This is Obadiah 1:1. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord Yahweh concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. And that's what these other nations are coming together to do. So rise up. Huh? Oh, shit, what up, man? Nah, just chilling. Huh? Oh, you too, man. Yeah, man, these other fucking nations, man. Yeah, they gonna rise up against her in battle, man. All right? And they gonna come together to do that. All these different nations. Why? Because they're all being mistreated by the American government. At least those that were once in league with this devil. Okay? And now what are they doing? They linking up with the enemies of Esau, Edom. Okay? The whole reason why Esau established NATO and the EU was to go against his enemies, all right, in Russia and those BRIC nations, man. Now, all of these nations that were once a part of the EU and NATO are starting to flee from America to be to go to the BRICS nations and to be guarded by Russia. All right. So this is the battle that is being set up against the whore, which is America. It says, verse 2, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. And see, and it's starting now. It's starting now. The Lord is making this devil small among the heathen by giving these other nations nuclear capability and putting a spirit on them to rise up in strength. Okay? The scriptures talk about how he's gonna put hooks in the jaws of Magog, those Russians, how they're gonna go back in the spirit of that Soviet Union spirit. Scriptures talk about how Ishmael should be like Ishmael should be a wild man. Okay, the Lord will put the spirit on them to rise up in power. These are the true nature of these different nations, man. All right. And since Esau have been in power through the sword, he have gained the fatness of the earth. These other nations have lost their nature. But now it's time for this devil to be taken down. The Lord has restored that warfare spirit in these other heathen nations to bring this place down. So the Lord have made Esau small among the rest of these heathens when you were once riding upon these nations. All right, calling shots, you know, being a hammer to the whole earth, beating these other nations into submission. But now you're made small, man. Okay, and you are greatly despised because of all of the filthy wickedness that you're being exposed for. Not to make mention about the EP files. Not to make mention about how the president is a part of this whole thing and is putting shameful spewing on this place. Not to make mention of the inhabitants of this place and the folly of it. Okay, the moral decline, how the food is defiled, how the air quality is defiled compared to these other countries, man. All right, how the government is defiled, the laws are hypocritical. You know? So this place is greatly despised. Why? Because so as the ruler is, so are as the officers and the people. All right, Esau has conditioned the minds of the people to be like him. All right? To be degenerate, to be wicked, to be abased. So now everything that's associated with this devil is being despised. And shameful spewing is being, shameful spewing on this place. You got these other nations, they making AI videos, exposing shit, making AI videos taunting America, taunting this devil. All right? Making mockery of them, making mockery of this place, of this country, of the inhabitants thereof, and it's rightfully so. So Esau has been made small among the heathen right now. It's starting now. Okay, just like in the last lesson I did last night when I read Isaiah 14:10, even though that's going to really take place in the kingdom of heaven, all right, once this devil is fully taken out of power, but it's starting now. That's the point, it's starting now. Grab, Salaki. We grab this in Revelation. This is I'm gonna just go straight to the point. Verse 3, Revelation 18:3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Right? And that's when these nations were once on one accord with your ass, man. Alright? You know, when these nations was getting rich off your ass. You know, importing, exporting, so forth and so on, taking on the different idolatries of this devil, taking on the different philosophies of this devil, all right, and spreading it about their countries and spreading it about their earth, okay? That's how these nations, these other leaders, world leaders, these heathens committed fornication with this devil, Esau, man, by spreading his way, spreading his philosophy, spreading that beast system. Okay, and ultimately getting rich off the traffic of this place. But now that's no longer happening. Okay, these other nations are no longer drunk off that philosophy. They're starting to sober up to the point where they're no longer riding for this devil. All right, to the point where even the inhabitants, these Americans, don't even want to fight this war. They tired of fighting for these damn small hats every time they get into some shit, man. And once again, like I said, like the prophecy say, all right, the least of the flock shall draw them out. So it's going to be a situation that's going to concern these small hats, all right, in the land that they're in, that's going to cause America to get involved, which is like a setup for America's decline, man. In which this land gonna be destroyed by thermonuclear fire, all right, and Israel's gonna be destroyed by nuclear fire. That's gonna be the end all be all. You know. Side note: you just had a murder of crows surrounding Tel Aviv, aka Pink City. So these are the different signs, omens that the Lord is sending to let you know. All right, that his son is about to come back. He's about to take out Esau, Edom, and deliver his men and set up righteousness back on the earth. His kingdom is about to be established, because that's what this is leading up to. That's the ultimate end all be all. Is the kingdom of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua being established here on earth. That's why this has to happen first. That's why this is such an important prophecy. This is going to issue when, okay, the coming back of Yahweh Shah. So yeah, these nations are no longer drunk off that wine. All right, they're starting to sober up to the point where they're coming up against this devil. They're hating the whore, like the scriptures say, the beast shall hate the whore, and that's what's going on, man. It says, okay, I'm gonna jump to verse 9. It says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and live deliciously with her shall bewail her. See? So these other nations, all right, was once getting rich, filthy rich. All right, and they were satisfied. But now it's going to come upon a time where these nations and these kings of the earth are going to bewail, and lament. Like the scriptures say, I'm going to keep reading. it says, shall bewail and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, right? Because once this place is destroyed, these other nations can't get rich no more, all right? They can't live deliciously no more. Through America's traffic, through America's trade, through America's fornication, they no longer can do anything, man. So they're gonna be asked out too, and they gonna know that they next, all right? Because I'm gonna read verse 10. It says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, at last, that great city, that mighty city, in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Because this is going to be broadcasted. The destruction of America is going to be broadcasted, man. All right, and every eye is going to behold this place going into flames. Especially when Yahweh Shah come back, man. You know? So, hey, man. These other nations, you know, linking up with Iran is just a stepping stone to prophecy, okay? A lot more is going to take place. Like I said, even before World War III, other prophecies got to take place. You know, like the famine of the word, persecution of the prophets, Jacob's trouble, the MOTB being made mandatory. Okay, these are things that have to take place before World War III actually pops off and hits the intensity. All right, so Lord willing, it's been another edifying lesson. This was part 2 to the lesson I did yesterday. Kim Jong-un or Rocket Man ain't playing ESAU Scared. All right, Lord willing, it's be an edifying lesson. Giving all glory, honor, and praise to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Shalom. On to the next one.